at the Mississippi River in Louisiana. By all appearances, it is a picturesque scene. But there are many people here who believe that the beauty is deceiving. They say they feel like human guinea pigs, and they call this area the most gruesome of names. They call it Cancer Alley, the massive human experiment, and Bhopal on the bio. And they tell us that they are afraid that this air, the very air that I'm breathing right now, is so filled with carcinogens that they have labeled the river area a national sacrifice zone. And there are many people here who believe that their lives are being forsaken. That's because all along this river, there once were huge sugar plantations. But since World War II, many of the plantations have been replaced by chemical companies. And some say by welcoming the chemical plants, the people here sold their souls to the devil. So today, we are smack dab in the middle of what environmentalists call chemical soup. It is part of the 150-mile stretch between Baton Rouge, called the Gateway to Cancer Alley, and New Orleans. This is home to one of the largest concentrations of chemical plants on the planet Earth, spewing out millions, and I do mean millions of tons of toxics in the air and also in the water. And the air that we're all breathing right here in Louisiana is the air that eventually makes its way into your neighborhood. And we are here because a lot of people along this river fear that they are doomed to a cancerous death. But they are frustrated because there have been no definitive studies showing a direct link between the chemical plants and the high cancer rates in this community, which are some of the highest rates in the entire country. You will soon hear their stories and their accounts of children now being diagnosed with rare cancers, and whole blocks racked with illnesses, cows who do not smoke, who have been found to have lung cancer, and pets just losing their fur, screen windows rotting away. And so we are asking ourselves today, is this the ugly deal we all made for the comforts of life? We're on location at the Iberville Parish Civic Center in Plaquemine, Louisiana. They call this Cancer Alley. Hi, everybody in Louisiana and across the United States. We're glad to be here.
President-elect Bill Clinton will take office in less than a month, but area environmental leaders are sending word to him now for stricter environmental standards. The Louisiana Environmental Action Network wants major environmental reforms within Clinton's first 100 days in office. One group is calling for an end to what it calls environmental racism. WAFB's Glenn Boyd reports.
You are looking at the northern tip of what some environmentalists call Cancer Alley. These are chemical companies. They stretch from New Orleans to the northernest corner of East Baton Rouge.
Our communities are right across the street from them.
This is where Florence Robinson lives. She's a biologist who says research shows chemical companies more often than not set up operations in minority-populated areas. She calls it environmental racism. Robinson says she has some numbers to back up her claim. In 1990, Robinson says 15 million pounds of toxins were emitted into the air in East Baton Rouge. But she claims 80% of those toxins were emitted in this area alone.
For the total East Baton Rouge area, this amounts to approximately 40 pounds of toxic chemicals released per person. But in the Scotlandville area, this release is 269 pounds per person. And of course, Scotlandville is 92% black.
But Robertson is not alone in her fight for environmental reform. Area environmentalists are also calling on the new Clinton administration for environmental changes. It comes as Louisiana leads the way in toxic discharges into our land, water, and air.
The environmental equity problem is real, that our low-income minority communities are heavily impacted, particularly here in Louisiana.
But the Chemical Association says it's addressing the concerns raised by the minority community. Richard Kleiner denies there was a subconscious attempt to place chemical companies in African-American communities.
Nevertheless, we recognize that we operate in the same communities in which many minority folks live, and we have an obligation to those communities to recognize their concerns, work with them to reduce our emissions, and make the community better for everybody.
Kleiner says his group has already gone before the Civil Rights Commission, outlining the association's plan for environmental equity. Robertson hopes the Clinton administration will put a halt to air toxic emissions. Right now, she says, she suffers with respiratory problems caused by the chemicals in the air. Though there's no scientific proof of that, Robertson says Cancer Alley is for real. Glenn Boyd, WAFB News.
My ancestors and all the black people have been here in the United States of America since the year 1619. 373 years we've been here. We have fought in every war this country ever been in. We have shed our blood, and we're still not free. We here living in Geismar have saw many people died. I've lost 9 members of my family in 13 years here in Geismar. After these companies had been here about 15 years, that's when the dilemma started. People started dying with cancer, and we thought it was a natural thing. Numerous of women around here have no breasts. Their breasts have been amputated, and the cancer eats them up. And then we had numerous of miscarriage. White and black lost their baby. Every week we was marching behind 2, sometimes 3 people going to the graveyard in this little small community. If the people just would come out, every family that lost people in cancer, and I guarantee you it would be declared as a cancer epidemic around here. This is why they call it Cancer Alley. And this is what it is. It's Cancer Alley.
Louisiana is more than just music and Cajun cooking. Louisiana has over 40% of all the coastal wetlands in the nation. But the state also has one of the highest concentrations of industrial plants in the country. Now, residents in some communities, like this one, St. Gabriel, just up the Mississippi River from New Orleans, are working together to strike a balance between nature and industry. Their efforts to protect the environment have led residents to conduct letter-writing campaigns, attend hearings, and even march on the governor's mansion. Groups like the Louisiana Environmental Action Network, or LEAN, are aiding community efforts here, and there are similar groups helping communities all around the country. If you'd like more information, here's who to contact.
The richest nation on God's earth most pollutes the earth, trapping the heat of the sun, threatening the earth with rising seas, with storm, flood, and drought. Global warming plagues the earth. We are called to protect it so that we and our descendants may live.